Welcome to the Bovine Podcast. I'm your host, Bella, and today we're diving into a hot topic that's affecting dairy farmers across the country. We're talking about how innovative producers are tackling methane reduction while actually improving their bottom line.
And I'm Douglas, joining Bella today to break down the practical side of this issue. In today's episode, we'll explore the FDA's recent approval of Bovaer, a feed additive that cuts methane emissions by 30%, along with other strategies like improved silage management and targeted breeding approaches. We'll also discuss the economic benefits these methods can bring to your operation.
Curious, this is such a timely discussion, Douglas. With climate concerns putting dairy in the spotlight, farmers are looking for solutions that make both environmental and economic sense. Let's jump right in.
Let's start by understanding what Bovaer actually is. Approved by the FDA on May 28, 2024, Bovaer is the brand name for 3-nitrooxypropanol, or 3-NO-P for short. It's a feed additive specifically designed to reduce methane production in cattle.
How exactly does it work? I know our listeners will want to understand the science behind it.
It targets an enzyme called methyl coenzyme M reductase, or MCR, in rumen archaea. These are the microorganisms in a cow's digestive system that produce methane. By inhibiting this enzyme, Bovaer effectively reduces the amount of methane formed during digestion. According to Elanco animal health data, this equals approximately 1.2 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent reduced annually per cow.
I've heard some consumers are worried about safety. What's the current status on that front?
The Food Standards Agency has been very clear on this point. They state, and I quote, "Milk from cows given Bovaer is safe to drink. The cows metabolize the additive so it does not pass into the milk." Bovaer has been approved not just by the FDA but also in Great Britain, the European Union, Australia, and Canada after extensive safety evaluations.
I've been seeing some pretty intense reactions on social media about Bovaer. Some TikTok users are even posting videos of themselves pouring milk down the sink. What's going on there?
Unfortunately, we're seeing what one online commenter called essentially another anti-vaccine campaign. People are claiming this feed additive is unsafe for humans, despite clear scientific evidence to the contrary. Bovaer has undergone extensive safety evaluations and received regulatory approval for use in dairy cattle.
It seems like there's a disconnect between the science and public perception. Why do you think that is?
One industry commentator put it well. The term additive has been associated with negativity for years. When consumers hear chemicals and cows in the same sentence, they panic, even though milk naturally contains thousands of chemical compounds.
What does the research actually show about Bovaer in milk?
According to extensive testing reviewed by the European Food Safety Authority, 3-NO-P is not detectable in a cow's plasma, milk, or other edible tissues. This is because the animal's stomach rapidly breaks it down into metabolites, primarily 1,3-propanediol, which is mainly exhaled as carbon dioxide.
While Bovaer is getting all the headlines, I understand there are other approaches farmers are using to reduce methane. Let's talk about some of those options.
Absolutely. One of my favorites is what I call the silage strategy. While not as flashy as feed additives, improving your silage game can significantly cut emissions.
How does better silage translate to lower methane?
It's all about digestibility. Higher digestibility forage means less fermentation time in the rumen, which translates to fewer burps and more milk per ton of feed. It's about energy efficiency as much as environmental impact. Every methane molecule represents lost energy that could have gone into milk production.
What specific silage improvements make the biggest difference?
Practical. As nutrition specialist Tom Wilson, a Yorkshire dairy farmer participating in emission reduction trials, explains, protein content is the whole ballgame. Young grass with high digestibility can dramatically reduce methane output, but you've got to balance the nutrition carefully.
Let's shift gears and talk about breeding. I understand some farmers are selecting bulls specifically for methane reduction traits.
That's right. Take Pete Larson, a third-generation Wisconsin dairy farmer with a 350-cow operation. He used to select bulls based solely on milk components and conformation. Now he's pioneering a different approach, breeding cows that naturally produce less methane.
What kind of results is he seeing?
Larson reports, after implementing targeted breeding strategies for 4 years, our feed costs have dropped approximately 8% while maintaining milk production. The methane reduction is a bonus positioning us well for future market requirements.
Is there research backing up this breeding approach?
Yes. Researchers from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine have confirmed what innovative farmers discovered through trial and error. Low-emitting cows tend to be smaller and house different microbial communities, and these differences were not associated with reduced milk production.
And what does the science say about why this works?
Dr. Dipti Pitta, associate professor at the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine, explains it well. Low methane emitters are more efficient cows. Methane formation is an energy-inefficient process, so reducing methane production gives that energy back to the cow for metabolic activities, including improved growth rate and milk production.
These approaches sound promising, but I imagine there are challenges to implementing them. What obstacles are dairy farmers facing?
You're right. Despite the promising potential, there are legitimate hurdles. Dr. Frank Mitloehner, professor and air quality extension specialist at UC Davis, points out that the upfront costs of feed additives like Bovaer remain a concern for many producers. Without processor premiums or carbon market access, producers must carefully evaluate the return on investment.
What are the main barriers farmers are encountering?
Industry analysts point to several common challenges. First, initial implementation costs without immediate financial returns. Second, integration complexities with existing feeding systems. Third, market uncertainty around carbon credit pricing. And fourth, consumer acceptance of new technologies.
Are farmers finding ways to overcome these barriers?
The good news is that early adopters are finding these barriers surmountable. Pete Larson shared his approach. We started with a small test group to minimize upfront costs. This allowed us to document benefits before scaling up. The key is starting small and expanding as you see results.
Let's talk about the role milk processors and cooperatives are playing in this methane reduction effort.
Cooperatives and processors are quickly becoming key players in the methane reduction ecosystem. As Nestlé, Danone, and other major dairy buyers set ambitious carbon reduction targets, they're developing incentive programs for producers.
What specific programs are available to help farmers?
Dairy Farmers of America, the largest U.S. dairy cooperative, has launched sustainability programs to help its 12,500 family farm owners reduce environmental impact while improving profitability. Jackie Klippenstein, Senior Vice President at DFA, explains, "Our Gold Standard Dairy Program helps producers document their sustainability efforts and prepare for future market opportunities."
Are these programs creating financial incentives for farmers?
Absolutely. Processors are increasingly linking sustainability to market access. Land O'Lakes Truterra Sustainability Program connects farmers with buyers willing to pay premiums for verified sustainable practices, creating financial incentives for methane reduction.
Let's compare the different methane reduction strategies available to farmers. What kind of reduction can each approach achieve?
Here's how they stack up. Bovaer can reduce methane by up to 30% and will be available in Q3 2024. It delivers about 1.2 metric tons of CO2 equivalent reduction per cow per year. Young digestible grass can also reduce methane by up to 30%, with the benefit of improved feed efficiency, and can be implemented immediately depending on the season. Increasing maize silage can cut methane by 5 to 10% by your next harvest, with improved nitrogen efficiency as a bonus. And methane-focused genetics can reduce emissions by up to 22% over the long term while maintaining production levels.
What about the safety of these approaches?
For Bovaer specifically, no residues are detected in milk or tissues because the additive is metabolized by cows, and regulatory agencies have found no safety concerns when used at approved doses.
So, what about organic dairy producers? Are there methane reduction strategies that work within organic certification requirements?
Yes, while synthetic additives like Bovaer face consumer resistance, other interventions are gaining traction among organic producers looking for natural approaches to emission reduction.
Curious, what kinds of natural approaches are working?
Melissa Chambers, an Oregon organic dairy owner, sees it as a potential marketing win. We're reducing our carbon footprint while improving cow health with management practices consumers understand. There's less pushback when the approach seems natural.
Let's talk dollars and cents. What's the economic reality of implementing methane reduction strategies?
The economic reality is that methane reduction strategies require investment. Fortunately, farmers have significant support through USDA programs. For fiscal year 2023, the department awarded more than $90 million to dairy farmer-owned cooperatives and partner organizations for innovative feed management under the Regional Conservation Partnership Program.
Beyond government support, are there other financial benefits?
Absolutely. Elanco has developed a platform that helps producers connect with carbon markets, providing an opportunity for a diversified income stream that's not dependent on milk markets. Some dairy operations sell carbon credits from documented methane reductions, generating additional revenue. Others leverage sustainability grants to modernize feed systems while cutting emissions.
So this isn't just about environmental benefits.
As Pete Larson insists, this isn't charity. Every methane molecule we eliminate represents energy that stays in our production system. The climate benefit is just a bonus.
Help our listeners understand why reducing methane makes business sense beyond just environmental concerns.
Methane is the second most plentiful and potent greenhouse gas, packing a punch in the short term. It's 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide over 100 years. When cows produce methane through their digestive process, it's not just an environmental concern. It represents an energy loss and reduction in feed efficiency.
So reducing methane is actually about capturing lost energy.
Exactly. If we can keep that energy in the animal instead of losing it as gas, we see significant efficiency gains. It's the same reason car manufacturers work to eliminate wasted fuel as exhaust.
For farmers listening who want to get started with methane reduction, what steps should they take?
First, assess your current emissions baseline. Connect with your cooperative or processor about carbon measurement tools, or consider working with Elanco's Uplook Sustainability Insights engine.
What about funding options?
Explore the USDA Regional Conservation Partnership Program with over $90 million available. Contact your local Natural Resources Conservation Service office for application guidance and explore processor sustainability incentive programs.
Once they have funding lined up, how do they choose a strategy?
Consider feed additives like Bovaer, available Q3 2024 through Elanco, or work with genetics providers on methane-efficient bloodlines. You might also consult with a nutritionist on silage optimization. The key is choosing what works best for your specific operation.
And how can farmers monetize their reductions?
Look into carbon credit verification through third parties like Athean or Truterra, and explore potential premium market access through sustainable milk programs.
We've compiled some common questions from dairy farmers about methane reduction. Let's address a few of those now.
Great idea. One common question is whether methane reduction is economically viable for small and mid-sized dairies.
It's the answer to that.
Dr. Frank Mitloehner from UC Davis says, absolutely. While large operations may have more resources for implementation, smaller farms often have greater flexibility to adapt quickly. The key is choosing the right strategy for your operation size. Feed management improvements typically have the fastest ROI for smaller farms, while genetics provide long-term benefits for all herd sizes.
Yuned, another question we hear often is how soon farmers can expect to see results from methane reduction efforts.
Dr. Dipti Pitta from the University of Pennsylvania explains, feed additives can reduce emissions almost immediately, while breeding approaches take longer, typically several years to see significant herd-wide changes. The feed efficiency benefits often appear before the full climate benefits are realized, which helps offset implementation costs.
Where can producers go for implementation support?
Jackie Klippenstein from Dairy Farmers of America recommends, start with your cooperative or processor, as many have sustainability teams dedicated to helping members. The Innovation Center for U.S. Dairy offers excellent resources, and your local extension office can connect you with regional experts.
We've covered a lot of ground today. From Bovaer to breeding, silage management to carbon markets, it's clear that dairy farmers have multiple pathways to reduce methane while improving profitability. The key takeaways are that multiple reduction strategies exist, giving farmers flexibility based on their operation size and management style. Economic returns come through improved feed efficiency, access to premium markets, and carbon credit opportunities. Starting small and documenting results is a proven approach, and early adopters will have a competitive edge as regulations evolve.
The battle for dairy's climate future won't be won by government edicts or activist pressure. It will be decided by farmers who recognize that emission reduction isn't just an environmental imperative, it's a competitive advantage. As National Milk Producers Federation CEO Greg Doud notes, innovations like Bovaer will help U.S. dairy farmers remain globally competitive and maintain their role as leaders in more sustainable dairy production. Whether through breeding, feeding, or advanced additives, tomorrow's dairy leaders will cut gas while pumping up profits today. The climate critics don't want you to know the truth. Dairy farmers aren't the problem. They're pioneering the solution, one burp-free cow at a time.
That's all for today's episode of the Bovine Podcast. If you found this information valuable, please share it with your fellow dairy farmers. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, I'm Bella.
And I'm Douglas, wishing you efficient herds and profitable production.